All right, first and foremost, all praise to God. We're here to inform, motivate, and educate. And right now, we're going to have a small conversation about the Diddy trial. I would like to sit here and get everybody's input. The trial, obviously, is not over, but there are a few witnesses in. And so far, I don't see the John Gotti relation to this. Is Diddy a guy who practices domestic violence? Yes, absolutely. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Is Diddy a drug user? Yes, absolutely. No doubt about it. Chris, is Diddy a sleazeball?
Absolutely.
Yes, no doubt about it. Is Diddy a terrible person, Chris?
Yes, he is.
His lawyers say, though, he is a
Complicated man.
complicated man, right? But to me, all that stuff that I'm hearing on the trial just reminds me of the old saying, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the same old sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
I'd say sex, drugs, and golden showers.
And golden showers. However, there's a lot of, stuff that's lacking right now. I was waiting, or maybe we still waiting to see Diddy moving weight in these private jets, moving dope, big quantities, not some guy bringing him dope. That's what they showed, I think today, was his assistant came out and said there was this one guy that would come in there and sell him the drugs. But that to me he's not a drug dealer. He's a drug buyer, right? Moving children. They had all kind of children and that he's doing this and that. And it doesn't even seem like because that would, to me, would be the first thing they're going to bring. Like, all right, we got these guys who are adults now, like even Justin Bieber, Usher.
Yeah.
And those guys don't seem to be stepping up or saying absolutely anything. And then Dawn, that's an artist that used to work on the Diddy, right?
Yeah, Dawn Richards.
And she used to be on what?
Danity Kane.
Okay. She just testified and confirmed many of the stuff that Casey said, that he would beat her up from time to time. He was a cruel guy. He was that just controlling guy. But at the end of her testimony, they asked her, well, but didn't you, after all this, come back and hit him up and say you wanted to work with him? And she said yes. That, to me, kind of throws her credibility out the window. It's like, you're talking all this mess about this guy, and this ain't Casey. Casey, they can at least use and say she was being, mentally controlled. And Dawn, no. Dawn was just there for the ride. But after all that, and she comes back and says, yeah, she's trying to work with the guy. What does that say, Chris?
She's willing to do whatever it takes.
And I'm almost sure right at this moment, if the trial were to stop today, that there would be one juror that would say, "No, this is just not enough. Not for a federal indictment." To me, right?
Yeah.
To me, this seems more like an Ike and Tina situation. That this guy was just all powerful, all money. But the difference between Ike and Tina is Tina finally said, I'm fed up and I'm gone, dude. F you. And I personally believe that Casey had every opportunity, because in the testimony, she's chasing this guy. I think she wanted to be part of Puffy's world. It wasn't even so much about the money, because she's dated some producers and dated some people with big money, but not a mogul.
Yeah.
And Puff was definitely a mogul. So my question is this. If the trial were to stop today, and I'm not saying, like I said, is he guilty of domestic? Yes. Is he guilty of being a sleazeball? Yes. But is he guilty of being this criminal mastermind that's moving dope and moving children and sex trafficking and all? I just don't see it right now. I personally believe that the federal government overplayed their hand, that they should have left it up to the state, made it a domestic violence case, made it, something where Puff gets some years in prison. But to sit here and use the Rico Act as he's some type of John Gotti, I just don't see it, especially when there's no defendants with him. He is the only one. So you would think if it's a Rico that he would have, 3 or 4 other defendants that were kidnapping people, buying the dope, moving the kids. What's your opinion on it, Chris?
I have to agree. It doesn't seem like with Rico cases, it has to be a criminal enterprise. And it just seems like his bodyguards were just kind of covering for him. But that's not,
that's
not a terrorist or organization. You know what I mean?
Imagine if what's the name was still alive right now, someone in his prime. I would think he'd have to go to prison. Hugh Hefner, Playboy Mansion.
That's a hot take.
Think about it. You tell me he's not sex trafficking, taking all these girls on private jets, and everybody knows when you come to the Playboy Mansion, it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That was the life. And he is a guy who, dude, all he had was girls around him all day long, and he's moving them from state to state. And now that those women are coming out saying, "Oh, he was a derp." Of course. What do you think? Do you think these guys are great, beautiful people? No, they're out there using their power. Like, you get a guy in the hood that has a Impala or some nice ride. You think he's not using that to try to get some tail and stuff? Yeah, I'm not saying it's right, but women beware, bro. At some point, I think she could have left. Especially after 10 years. I think if you're a woman with any kind of class, any kind of morals, and some guy says, "Hey, man, I want you to have sex with this other guy while I watch," most women are going to look at you and say, "Oh, you crazy, man." If you're a freak, you're going to say, "Let's do it." And even a freak, when it comes down to, let's go another level here. I want this guy to urinate in your mouth. There's adult movie stars that say, "Oh, you out of your rabbit ass mind, boy, I'm out of here." So to me, it's like, it's sad to say, but she was complicit in this. She knew what she was going for. She would hit him back up. "I'm ready for a freak off. I'm ready for this." It's 2 adults doing some beyond freakiness stuff. It's just beyond. But freakiness and kinkiness is not against the law, bro. It's definitely, to me, not a RICO act. So this was just a small video. Like I said, we haven't finished the trial yet. So if some stuff does come out about underage kids, yeah, of course, hang this guy, dude. Give him life. But right now, if I was a betting man, I would say there's going to be at least one juror that's going to be like, "No, this ain't it, bro. This ain't it." Will they retry him? Yeah, I think they'll retry him. I think they're going to be very embarrassed. And if not, who knows? Puff might get life. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it whatsoever. I'm just talking about what's going on right now and seeing what your guys is taking. So let's have this conversation. Let's have it an adult-like manner. And let me know if you guys think, as of today, if the government has proven that this is a RICO act, that Puff was moving dope, that Puff was sex trafficking women. And let's see what you guys think. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Bye.